Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are very proud to present the University of Washington Wind Ensemble under the direction of Professor Timothy Salzman. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the University of Washington's annual Convocation. The Convocation will begin with the procession of the faculty, deans, president, regents, administrative leadership, and honored guests.
We'd like to begin this ceremony by acknowledging the land on which the university rests, the land of the Coast Salish peoples, which touches the shared waters of all tribes and bands within the Suquamish, Tulalip, and Muckleshoot nations. Today, we celebrate together. The 2019 University of Washington New Student Convocation will be opened with the singing of the Star-Spangled Banner by Tina Tran. Tina is an incoming master's student in vocal performance. She'll be accompanied by the University Wind Ensemble, conducted by Professor Timothy Saltzman of the School of Music. We invite those of you who are able to please rise.
For the ramparts we watched were so gallant.
Please be seated. Good morning. My fellow students, I am Joseph Janes, the University Marshal. The rest of the year, I'm an associate professor in the Information School, but as University Marshal, I have the honor and privilege of offering you our first words of official greeting. It also means I am your first professor. And if you're in my class on Thursday morning, I could be your second professor. So I get to give you your first lesson. First of all, how many of us are first-generation college students? I am too. And once I sat where you sit in a different place and time at a convocation on my first day, and my strongest memory of that day was all of this, all the symbols and signs you see around us. Look around up there and you'll see banners representing each of the university's schools and colleges arranged in historical order, beginning with the College of Arts and Sciences and going all the way right round to the School of Public Health. These are called gonfalons, a word that comes to us from 12th century Florence, Italy, where each district had its own unique banner or gonfalon. On your commencement day, some of you will carry the gonfalon for your school or college, and the rest of you will march in behind them. On that day, you'll also see these 4 Ionic columns. These are replicas of the columns that grace the facade of the university's first building, the Territorial University, that opened over 150 years ago in 1861 in what is now downtown Seattle. At that time, Washington was not yet a state, and Seattle a village of fewer than 200 people. These columns bear witness to the foresight of the citizens of Territorial Washington. They'll be prominently displayed on the commencement stage in Husky Stadium when you graduate. The columns and banners you see are cherished parts of our university traditions. But it's not just this university's life and traditions you are joining. You are entering into the life and traditions of an ancient and continuous body of learning that goes back centuries all around the world. That connection is symbolized in the medieval caps and gowns we wear, the President's Medallion, and of course by the special ritual object the University Marshal carries in our ceremonies, the mace. The mace is an ancient symbol of authority that reminds us that universities are custodians both of enduring traditions of learning and of the power they can bestow on those who come to learn. The University of Washington mace is topped by a lovely rendition of Drumheller Fountain and embellished with finely wrought metal sculptures of the university seal, the Territorial University, and Denny Hall. Denny Hall was built in 1895 when the campus moved from downtown Seattle. It houses a 400-pound bell that was rung at the Territorial University downtown to signal the start of classes and to mark historic occasions, such as the assassination of President Lincoln. Today, it rings for homecoming. The university possesses another set of bells that you may have heard walking around campus this morning. They're change-ringing bells. 8 bells, the heaviest of which is almost 700 pounds, and they're rung by hand in the change-ringing style which originated in 17th century England. These bells are housed in Gerberding Hall. The mace and the medallion and all of these ritual elements and traditions are symbolic reminders that unite where we are now with what has brought us here. And this brings me to the nature of the event itself today. Our previous University Marshal philosophy professor Ron Moore used to say that one function of ritual occasions such as this is to pause and reflect on where we are now, what has gone before, and where we're going. At this moment, you are ending one stage of your lives and starting another. So it's important that you stop right now and mark the significance of what you've achieved up to this point. Acknowledge with gratitude the past, and then think about your goals for the future. You, students, your parents and families and relatives and friends are now members of the University of Washington family, so we're all in this together. Like families everywhere, we will help each other, support each other, occasionally disagree, even fight now and then, but we will ultimately come together in our devotion to the project of creating a better world and a better future. I can't tell you how much I envy the opportunity and adventure that lies before you, and I can't wait to see all the marvels you will produce. And when it really matters, and it's really important, ask a librarian. You're welcome. I wish you all the best. It is now my very great pleasure to introduce to you the President of the University of Washington, Professor Annemarie Kause.
Thank you, Professor James. I have the great honor of being the second professor to address you, and it's my privilege to officially welcome you to the University of Washington. I wish you could see how beautiful you look, all with a little bit of purple glow. You look beautiful in purple. Before I continue, I want you to know that the splendid music that you've been listening to this morning is being provided for us by students from the School of Music's Wind Ensemble under the direction of Professor Timothy Salzman. As you can tell, they're gifted musicians, and we greatly appreciate their participation here today. Thank you. I'd also like to introduce our stage party today, beginning with our regents. The university's Board of Regents consists of 10 citizens of the state who are appointed by the governor and confirmed by the state senate. These dedicated men and women devote many, many, many hours each year to the welfare of the university. 5 of our regents are here with us this morning, and I would like to introduce them at this time. Please hold your applause until they're all introduced. Regent Joel Benalil, the chair of the board. Regent Rogelio Riojas, vice chair. Regent Libby McPhee. Regent Constance Rice. And Regent Daniela Suarez, the student member of the board. Ladies and gentlemen, the regents of the University of Washington. Also, seated with us on the platform are the deans of the university's 16 schools and colleges, the senior administrative leadership of the university, faculty members, and representatives from the student body, the faculty senate, and the Alumni Association. Would all of you please stand and allow us to thank you for being with us? It's so much fun to say, welcome new Huskies. And of course, I'm talking to you, our new students, whether you're beginning your college career as a first-year student or continuing it as a transfer or a graduate student or a professional student. But I'm also talking to all of you, moms and dads, siblings, grandparents, guardians, friends, and everyone who came here today in support of your student. We're proud to call all of you Huskies and to welcome you into, or in some cases back into, our campus and our community. You're an important part of today as well. Now, students, I know Convocation Day can be a little overwhelming. You're in the midst of a major transition. You might still be learning the route between your residence hall and the closest Starbucks. Commuter students might still try to figure out, which streets are open and which streets are closed between your house and here. And here we are. You haven't even started, and we're asking you to crisscross the campus for a ceremony and a picture and a photograph in Husky Stadium. That's a lot to take in. So, for just one moment, let's all close our eyes, you too, moms and dads and supporters. Take a deep breath. Let it out. You're going to be fine. Actually, you're going to be better than fine, because you're going to learn so much about the world and yourselves on this journey that you are just beginning. Each of you is about to embark on what we call the Husky experience. Your Husky experience will be unlike anyone else's. It will be unique to you. It will take shape in the classroom, laboratories, libraries, and residence halls. It might grow to include a run for office in ASUW or GPSS, or membership in a registered student organization. It might take you into a research lab. It might send you to study abroad. It might send you to do research abroad. It will also include friendships and mentoring, and heartaches and disappointments too. But believe it or not, those disappointments will end up being every bit as valuable as those moments of triumph. And you will have plenty of moments of triumph too. Behind me, on both sides, are some of the world's most talented, inspiring faculty. People who are not only passionate about their fields of study, but eager to share their knowledge and their enthusiasm with you. And these folks, by the way, are just a fraction of the talented educators who make up the UW faculty. You can look forward to experiencing this for yourself as you get to know your professors, lecturers, and your teaching assistants. You're going to learn a lot from our faculty, no doubt about it. But you're also going to learn a lot from the people sitting all around you, and from your fellow Huskies who sat here, exactly where you're sitting in years past. Like you, they might not have been sure what they would major in. Or maybe they were absolutely sure, and then they changed their mind. That happened to me. But over time, they figured it out. Together, you will too. Each of you brings a unique perspective to the UW, and part of what makes us great is the sharing of those unique perspectives. The opportunity to see things through a lens that you never considered before is one of the most valuable things you can do as you prepare to enter the wider world. I hope you will take full advantage of the fact that you come from all over the state, all over the nation, all over the world, from different kinds of families, with your own unique traditions and experiences. And when you share what's unique about you with someone else, and they share what's unique about them, something new and different blossoms. Your world expands. So the very best advice I can give you right now is to be open to the spark of curiosity and to let that spark bloom into a fire that lights up your whole life. I experienced that spark when I was an undergraduate myself. I came in thinking I would be a journalism major. But I discovered a passion for psychology and psychology research. And that spark led to a career that has brought me more joy and satisfaction than I could ever have imagined when I was sitting where you are today. That spark brought me all the way from Miami, where I grew up, to Seattle, a home that I've made for myself over the last 33 years. That spark was the beginning of everything that has allowed me to make a positive difference in the world. And now you have that opportunity to find that spark, or better yet, to make that spark for yourself. As you create your spark, remember that all of us here on stage and across all of the university are here to help you succeed. It's okay to have questions. We're here to answer them. It's normal to feel uncertain. We're here to help you talk it through. Please remember that asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. And that's what we're here for. You are surrounded by people who care and who want to share their experiences with you so that you can have the very best experience possible. Moms and dads, families and friends, thank you for all you've done to get your students to this point. We're honored and excited to become part of their support network, cheering them on and being a shoulder to lean on when they need it. So students, let's take one more deep breath. As you get ready for your next adventure, the Husky experience you create as part of this community of talented, driven Huskies, welcome to the University of Washington.
What can you say? And now, I'd like to introduce you to the man who oversees all of the units on campus that will serve as your support team on this extraordinary journey you're about to begin. As the Vice President for Student Life, he oversees such diverse areas as food and housing, the Counseling and Career Centers, student publications, the recreational sports programs, and the Center of Student Life and Student Government, the Husky Union Building, which we call the Hub. It's a huge responsibility, and we are deeply privileged to have a uniquely qualified leader in this role. Please join me in welcoming our Vice President for Student Life, Dr. Denzel Sweet.
Good morning, Huskies. It is really great to see you all here today because it signals the start of a wonderful year ahead. I just want to take a moment and add my voice of welcome to those you've already heard and those you will continue to hear in the days and weeks ahead. However, I'm going to start with something that perhaps others will not say to you, and that is goodbye and thank you. The reason that I am starting with goodbye, even though you have only just arrived, is that these few years ahead of you, they will go by faster than you can imagine. And what you do with that time will have a profound impact on the rest of your life. I'm also starting with thank you because I am confident that your engagement with this university will enrich all of our lives. Your presence here is not an accident. It has meaning and it has purpose. I believe that each of you has brought something with you that will prove to be of tremendous value to this community as we embark on the journey ahead. And that is why, in part, I feel confident speaking for all of my colleagues on stage and telling you that we could not be more excited to be with you here as we launch you on this transformational journey. Perhaps the only thing we're not that excited about is seeing our faces 13 feet tall on these monitors, but wow. Okay, be that as it may, at the onset, college can seem like a long road on the way to a singular destination. But like any good road trip, what you really enjoy and remember, what defines the experience is what happens along the way. And as you begin this journey, I would like you to consider something one of my favorite science fiction authors, Anne McCaffrey, wrote in one of her books. She said, "Make no judgments where you have no compassion." I have spent a lot of years considering those words, and I have concluded that they are well worth taking with you on the odyssey you have begun today. Making no judgments where you have no compassion says to me that you should first seek to understand the point of view of others, even those with whom you strongly disagree. Be willing to listen and see the world through the eyes of your fellow travelers. We in the Division of Student Life partner with the Office of Minority Affairs and Diversity, with Undergraduate Academic Affairs, and many others to focus on the whole Husky. Through multiple programs, we support your health and well-being. We build supportive communities in our residence halls, and we cultivate numerous opportunities for you to engage more fully in the Husky experience. We equip you with the tools to build a fulfilling career and help you learn from people different from yourselves. Our mission is to create a supportive experience that will foster your academic, personal, and professional success. Now, there is no question that your academic pursuits need to remain your #1 priority. However, I want you to hear me when I tell you that your Husky experience, it will be incomplete if all you do is go to class, go home, and study all night. We know from years of experience and research that students who participate in groups and activities, who get involved in their residence hall association, or who take advantage of events that take place on campus, hold officer positions in student government, these students graduate at higher rates. They are more satisfied with the college experience, they have better grades, and they are less likely to drop out. In short, your involvement outside the classroom will define your Husky experience every bit as much as what you do inside the classroom. This road will be winding, no doubt, but any detours, any unanticipated developments, those will also teach you about yourself and will help you grow, adapt, and at times chart an even new and better course. And while this is your journey, we will be your roadmap when the path is unclear, a supportive rest stop when you need to recalibrate or recharge, and that little dashboard bubblehead when you need a friendly face. Remember, as the president said, it is okay to ask for directions along the way. We look forward to sharing this journey with you. And now I would like to introduce to you someone who's been making the most of her Husky journey. She's a communications major, and she will be starting her senior year as president of the Associated Students of the University of Washington. Please join me in welcoming your student body president, Kelty Pierce.
Thank you. Good morning, new Huskies. My name is Kelty Pierce, and I am so honored to have the opportunity to serve as your ASUW president. And today, I am even more excited to welcome you into our Husky community. I grew up in Puyallup, about an hour away. I'm a second generation and a proud big sister of a first-year Husky. When I came to UW, I was terrified of finding a new community in a new place surrounded by so many new people. I grew up in a tight-knit town, and the kids I graduated high school with were the same ones I started kindergarten with. I knew I needed to find where I belonged in this new environment. I came into college thinking, as I'm sure many of you do, I knew exactly what I would be doing, who I would be spending my time with. But, as you will learn, things don't always go as planned during the next 4 years. Embrace it. Embrace the challenges, embrace the changes, and most importantly, embrace the new adventures. In my first year, I had the opportunity to speak at a conference during winter quarter. And just by chance, I was approached by a group of UW students after my speech who invited me to attend their club meetings. I was unsure and a little nervous, but I took a risk. I showed up at their meeting, and by the end, I knew I had just found my people. The people I found through that club are now my closest friends. They're the ones who have become my personal Uber drivers after tearing my ACL on an airplane. It's true. Be careful putting your luggage in the overhead compartment, y'all. But really, these are the friends that have made me a better friend, leader, and overall woman. I would have never found this community had I not taken the leap, done something that scared me, and showed up to a new place. If there's any advice I hope that you take away from today, it would be to take every opportunity that comes your way. Don't be afraid to take the leap and talk to new people, because you never know who you will meet, the opportunities you will find, or even where you'll find your community. There are a lot of new students on this campus who, just like you, don't quite know what they're doing either. Trust that you are where you are supposed to be. Take the opportunities that come your way. I want you to know that there will be times that you think you do not belong. I've been there. And I'll tell you all about it over coffee, so come find me in the hub. I basically live there. But remember, you need to believe in yourself and trust that you are all here for a reason. It is okay if the universe isn't falling exactly in line with your plan. You are here now, a member of the University of Washington community, with more strange and exciting opportunities ahead of you than you can begin to imagine. And everyone on this stage and in this room, including myself, the accomplished people behind me, the loved ones surrounding you, and your incredible peers, we are right here, cheering you on. So welcome, new Huskies, to the greatest community at the greatest university in the world. Thank you, and go Dogs!
One of the things we want to do today is to introduce you, the entering class, to our faculty and deans and the university community. And at the same time, we also want to tell them a little bit about you. There is undoubtedly no one more familiar with the incoming class than our Dean of Undergraduate Academic Affairs, Dr. Ed Taylor. Dean Taylor is a graduate of Gonzaga University and received his PhD from the University of Washington. He's been a member of the faculty in the College of Education since 1994. You are in for a treat. Please join me in welcoming Dean Ed Taylor.
Good morning. The late Toni Morrison once said that true art does not just touch us, it moves us. She marked the distinction between being touched and being moved. We're here to be moved, and if we do this right in the coming years from now on, you'll be moved and your life will be different from now on. Your life will be forever changed. Some time ago, I started keeping a journal, mostly about the summer, about things that I find in this campus community, the things that I find moving. If you wouldn't mind, I'd like to read some excerpts because some of them involve some of you. Wednesday, June 19th, 2019. Most of the summer, parents and students come to the University of Washington campus for orientation, and we welcome you here. But on this day, a busload of new faculty, a handful of deans, and a provost get in a bus to travel around the state to see where our students come from and to talk to you and meet families there. On this day, we arrive in Spokane, Washington. We enter a room, a view of the Spokane River. We have some hors d'oeuvres, an opportunity to sit together and talk to one another and simply breathe. We sit randomly at tables. Let me emphasize, we sit randomly at tables, faculty, students, parents. At the end of a lovely afternoon in discussion, a mother takes a breath. She inhales. She inhales, but she doesn't exhale. She cannot breathe. She cannot breathe. Randomly seated next to her, not me, Assistant Professor Megan Strohr, School of Nursing. Megan wraps her arms around the mother, does the Heimlich maneuver. Mother is breathing again, daughter is breathing again, Megan is breathing again. We're all breathing. I knew our faculty and our staff and our community is here to change lives. But in that moment, it's quite possible that a faculty member saved a life. And maybe it's as simple as that when we have moments when we get stuck. We just wrap our arms around each other and just take a breath. July 26, 2019. A man who appears to be in his mid-40s is walking across Red Square. I notice him not because he's in his mid-40s and not because he's slightly balding. Many of you are. I notice him because he happens to be wearing Sesame Street backpack, green Kermit prominently placed. And as if that wasn't enough, he's carrying a Peppa Pig lunchbox. So I couldn't help myself, so I approached him. I said, what's with the backpack? And he looked at me and said, oh, this, as if he hadn't even noticed it. He said, I spent some time in the Air Force, in the military, when my child was born, and I had a daughter born at that time. And I would call her and talk to her, and over the years, it occurred to me that she was about to start school at the same time that I was about to start school, as he graduated from Tacoma Community College and was about to enter the University of Washington. He called her once and he said, baby, if I come home, and he corrected himself and said, baby, when I come home, when Daddy comes home, we're going to go shopping together, and we're going to go school shopping, and you get to choose so long as you don't choose camouflage. And this is what we chose. He said, what do you think? I said, do you want me to be brutally honest? I said, I would not have chosen Kermit. It's not that easy to be green when you're my size. I'm an Elmo man, or Roosevelt Franklin, because Roosevelt Franklin knows his alphabet. We talked a bit about our favorite children's movies, stories, books. There in front of Suzalo Library, in the presence of Socrates, Dante, Galileo, together reciting our favorite books. As he was ready to go, he quoted from one of my favorites, Where the Wild Things Are, and he held up a sign, a peace sign, and he said, let the wild rumpus start. And I held up a peace sign and I said, go well. I thought of him as he walked away. I thought of all of you. I thought about our veterans who are coming back to go to school. I thought about you, James Randall, and your service to this country and your journey. I thought about all of you whose journey was not easy here. I held up a peace sign back to him and I said, go with peace in every sense of the word, and go with strength. Saturday, August 8th, 2019, my colleagues and I from around the university went to the south end of Seattle to visit high school students there who had just been accepted to the University of Washington, to meet with families, to meet with students that are in the incoming class, to meet with teachers and educators. And we walked into a room where I met a mother, and she approached me and I said, congratulations, nearly 50,000 applicants to the University of Washington, and your daughter is one of them. And she held up her hand and said, this is not about me. She said, I wish I could take credit, but when my daughter told me she wanted to come to the University of Washington, I called every member of our village and I said, we are in this together. I called my mother, I called my hairdresser, I called her aunties, I called her teachers, her principal. I said, we're in this together. I called the custodian, I called our mailman, the grocery clerk. We still have a grocery clerk, she said. I told her uncles, even that wacky uncle, the one who wears plaid pants and black socks at the beach, and I said, we need you, and even he helped out. When she got her acceptance letter to the University of Washington, she said, I called them all again and said, it's time to start all over again. We are in this together. Parents, families, and loved ones, we're in this together now. Let's take a deep breath and turn our attention to this incoming class so I can tell you a few things about them and welcome them in. There are 45,584 applicants to the University of Washington, and this incoming class, there are 8,500 students. 7,000 freshmen, 1,500 transfers, 1,300 from Washington State community colleges. Last year's incoming GPA, there were a talented group of students, was 3.80. This year, your class, 3.81. Not that we're competitive. Mind you, that's not what got you into the university, by the way. There are in this class 55 Emilys, 45 Emmas, 45 Hannahs, 52 Andrews, 42 Matthews, 39 Ryans, Mary right there and Edith right there from Othello, Jordan from Puyallup, there's Elsa Petrov, there's Edelide and Liz right here. One of your classmates is named Marley after the late Bob Marley. Marley, we know you're in here because your parents wrote to us and said, our daughter Marley was named after the late, great Bob Marley because we admire her empathy and passion for equity and social justice. Keep jamming, Marley, keep jamming. There are nearly 4,469 students from the state of Washington. I'm going to mention some high schools, not all. Feel free to clap if you hear your high school. 71 students from Newport High School in Bellevue, 86 from Skyline, 62 from Franklin, 52 from Garfield, Kent Meridian, 50 students Interlake High School, 72, 55 from Thomas Jefferson, 7 students from Shelton, Washington, 52 from Kamiak, 96 from Inglemoor, 59 from Kent Ridge High School, 123 students from the Spokane area, 60 students from Cleveland High School, 11 from Moses Lake, 41 from Juanita High School. There you go, Juanita. 30 from Chief Sealth, 6 from Richland High School, 24 students homeschool. Where are my homeschoolers? Any? Identify yourself, homeschoolers. Each year, we hold out special recognition. This year, for 16 students who left Pullman, Washington, in search of gold and purple. Only to be rivaled by 110 students who waddled across the Oregon border. And you're Huskies. You're from Seattle Central College, you're from Bellevue College, Green River, Shoreline Community College, Spokane Community College. 725 students boogie boarded up from California. California's showing up together, nice. You're from New York. You get that, New York? Mm-hmm. From Colorado, you're from Pennsylvania, you're from Illinois, and you're from the Sunshine State of Florida. You're from all around the world. You're from China, you're from Taiwan, you're from India, yes. 1 each from Zambia, Cameroon, and Ethiopia. You're from Indonesia, from Thailand. 38 students from Canada. 13 from Vietnam. You're from Singapore. You're from Malaysia. 1 each from Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru. You're from Saudi Arabia. You're from Japan. You are truly global. And as Joe Jane said, many of you are the first in your family to attend college. We welcome you. You will be challenged here, we know this. You will be successful here, we know this, because we know something about your qualities. We ask your families and loved ones to say a few words about you, and here's some things that they said about you, incoming students. These are qualities that are about character, not about your GPA. Here's what they said. You are kind and compassionate. You are generous, you are hardworking, determined, and persistent. You are curious, passionate about learning. You are problem solvers, you are adventurous. Some of you are quiet, but you're fun. Some of you are competitive, but reserved. You are artists, you dance, you draw, you make music, and you have a sense of justice, just like Marley. Parents and loved ones, we ask the students to say a few words about you, their reflections on you. Here's what they said. You never gave up. You never gave up. You were always there when they needed you. You taught about character, honesty, earnestness, kindness, and a work ethic. You were strong and strong-minded. You sacrificed. You were resilient, and you were courage. You were loving. You were loving. So here's what I need you to do. Courageous, brave, and strong people that you are, I need you all to stand, all of us, students and community. Everybody stand. And I want you to hold hands and connect, and make sure that you connect, including us on the stage. Stand and connect. This isn't our first rodeo team, come on. And stand and connect, and make sure you connect across the aisles. And I want the audience to take a look. Connect as you can across. Yes, connect across. And I want you to think for a moment. Take a deep breath and think for a moment. Yes. Think about where you're from. Think about how you got here. Think about where you're going from here. And I want us together, on the count of 3, on a whisper, we're going to say, go Huskies. Keep connecting. On a whisper at first. 1, 2, 3, go Huskies. On a whisper, connect over here. On 3, on a whisper. 1, 2, 3, go Huskies. As loud as you can, take a really deep breath. Take a deep breath on the count of 3 as loud as you can. Welcome in this incoming class. 1, 2, 3. Welcome, class.
He made me lose my place. Hang on a second. He does this to me every year. Well, we've learned a good deal about you, our incoming class, and now we'd like to introduce you to some of the faculty members who will be your teachers and mentors in the years to come. They are experts in nearly every imaginable field, and every day they are engaged in research and scholarship that impacts our world in profound ways. The person who leads our faculty is our provost, Mark Richards. As provost, Dr. Richards is the university's chief academic and budget officer and the person who works most closely with the deans and the faculty to shape your academic experience. Dr. Richards is also a professor of Earth and Space Sciences in the College of the Environment. Please join me in welcoming our provost, Mark Richards.
Hello, I am the person with the unenviable task of having to speak after Ed Taylor. It's always brilliant, Ed. On behalf of the faculty of the University of Washington, I welcome you as new Huskies. It is my role at this event to introduce you to our faculty, so I thought I'd borrow a page from Dean Taylor's playbook. I decided to do a little research of my own and gather a few facts about our faculty. First, our faculty members' names. We have more than 350 faculty members named Michael, 333 Davids, 132 Jennifers, 130 Elizabeths, and, curiously, a seemingly endless variety of Christines. Oh, and by the way, we also have 4 Eds. But just one, Anamari, our university president. Also, a professor of psychology and American ethnic studies. But you will find among our faculty 15 MacArthur Genius Award Fellows, 175 members of the National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine, 94 members of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences, and 181 fellows in the American Association for the Advancement of Science. Oh, and the university has also been home to 7 Nobel Prize winners. Like you, our faculty come from nearly every state in the United States and dozens of countries throughout Europe, Asia, Africa, South America, and Australia. They receive their advanced degrees from Harvard, MIT, Stanford, Caltech, Princeton, Oxford, Cambridge, and major universities across the nation and around the world. They represent what is truly a United Nations of higher education. Our faculty also work all over the world. I'm the provost, but I'm also a professor of Earth and Space Sciences, and I study volcanic rocks in India and how they may be related to the extinction of the dinosaurs. That's more fun than being provost, by the way. Other professors research penguins in Argentina, use DNA and forensic science to save elephants in Africa, and advocate for human rights in Guatemala. Still others examine how people use social media in the wake of natural disasters and explore three-dimensional printing with clay. This world travel extends to our students as thousands of them study, research, and volunteer abroad each year. You may spend a quarter studying with a UW faculty member in Thailand, traveling to the Middle East, or researching art, culture, or sociology at the University of Washington centers in Rome, Italy, or Leon, Spain. The university's global reach is perhaps one reason it was named last year as the #1 most innovative public university in the world and #5 among all universities. Yeah. Those rankings have everything to do with our faculty and everything to do with you. As students, you will get a world-class education from a world-class faculty. Let me give you some examples. Dr. Elizabeth Nance is an assistant professor of chemical engineering and faculty member with the Center on Human Development and Disability and the Molecular and Engineering Sciences Institute. She recently received the Presidential Early Career Award for Scientists and Engineers. The scientists in her lab are developing nanotechnology-based therapeutics to treat disease and injuries to the brain. And last time I checked, 12 undergraduate researchers were working with her in the lab. Did you hear that, undergraduates? Recently, a team of 8 undergraduates in the Jackson School of International Studies worked with Dr. Jessica Beyer on a research project on international cybersecurity policy that was funded by Microsoft. 9 students in the Law Societies and Justice program worked with Professor Steve Herbert on a project observing processes of juvenile parole in Washington State. You will find scientists and scholars like these across the campus, involving undergraduates in groundbreaking research that significantly impacts our world. As faculty, our biggest motivation for being at the University of Washington, a public university, is that we love to work with students. You inspire us, and we are here to help you explore new worlds of knowledge and intellectual adventure. Even as a first-year student, you can be involved in the university's mission of research, teaching, and public service. Your education is interactive, so don't wait, jump in. To do this, first, go to class. Get to know your professors. They really want to get to know you too. Visit during their office hours, and don't be shy. Ask them about their research, their writing, their teaching. Ask their advice. Now, I want a show of hands. How many of you in your first year or your first quarter at the University of Washington are going to knock on one of your professor's door and ask about their research? Let's see them. Come on, I'm waiting. Okay? And mom and dad, parents, when they call home and say, I'm not taking quite as many courses this term because I'm going to work with Professor X on research topic Y, you're not going to say, why would you do that? You say, that sounds great. Right? Yeah. Your professors will help you make the most of your time as a student at the University of Washington. You are the reason we are here. Today, I have the additional privilege and honor of introducing a teacher who has long been a student favorite at the university. Matt McGarity is a principal lecturer in the Department of Communication. Dr. McGarity teaches classes on communication, public speaking, argumentation, political humor, and the history of rhetoric, and is the director of the University of Washington Speaking Center, which he founded. Through his online public speaking courses, he has taught more than 1 million people in 170 countries how to become confident communicators. And he is frequently invited to give talks and workshops at universities and businesses throughout the United States and internationally. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Matt McGarity.
I'm so honored to be here. I absolutely love this event. Convocation and commencement, these are the bookends of your UW experience. So this is the convocation speech. And the commencement speech, that's the one at graduation in 4 years. 5 years, maybe. There's a chance. It's going to be 4. We know it's going to be 4. I know it's going to be 4. But convocation starts it all off. So what's a convocation? Well, in Latin, a convocation is a calling together. We call the community together at important moments, important transitions. Parents, friends, family, you know this, you can feel this. This is a big transition. This is a big moment in a long list of big moments. So go ahead and take a look at your student. Right now you might be remembering rocking them to sleep as a baby. Right? They were so small. Right? Maybe you remember that first day of kindergarten, or maybe that first trip to the emergency room. I remember racing to the emergency room with my daughter. We sat in the hospital at 2 a.m. as she wheezed through a cough that wouldn't stop and a fever that wouldn't drop. I was scared. But she was fine, she didn't break. Elementary school graduation, I teared up. My son's 5th grade graduation. Was it a small event? Yes, okay. Were there thousands of other graduations like that? Sure. Did it impact me? Of course it did, right? The event marked that he was growing up, and I can't stop it. Not that I would. Slow it down a little bit, maybe. But now college, UW, this is the big one. Okay, this is a big moment. It happened so fast, but this is a big moment. And later today, everyone in here is going to experience this big moment in a very personal way. Okay? Maybe you go to the picnic, right? But later today, after years of walking with them side by side, you're going to take your student, you're going to hug them, you're going to hold on to them, and then your paths are going to part. And the next time you see them, they'll be different people, right? They'll have grown. So this is a big moment. Emotional stuff there. Yeah. Cat's in the cradle, silver spoon. Look out, little boy blue. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about what's starting on Wednesday. That's the first day of class. So I want to address 2 things to keep in mind as you start your UW experience. First, immerse yourself in the deep, reflective work here. And second, seize the opportunities at UW to apply your new knowledge. So first, please use your time at UW to immerse yourself in your studies and in your role as a student. This type of immersion allows you to do what professor and author Cal Newport calls deep work. That's innovative, high-quality work that can only emerge when you're in a state of distraction-free concentration. College trains and it rewards deep work, but it is tough. Such focus is rare, right? We've got so many beeping, blinking, barking distractions that tug at our time and attention. You know this. You know, research shows that human beings are terrible multitaskers. We are awful at it, okay, despite what we may say. We do too many things at once, right? We take some notes, we play Candy Crush, we read for class, we check social media, and every time we bounce from task to task to task, we lose time and attention. So you need to set it aside and focus. Studies indicate that for the vast majority of us, it's better to take class notes by hand than on a laptop. It's slower, but it's better. Doing deep immersive work is tough. But if you carve out chunks of time, if you protect them jealously, if you use them fruitfully, you will learn more, you will do better, and you will improve yourself. And that's actually the thing. Doing disciplined, deep work not only improves your understanding of ideas, but also of yourself. As an undergraduate at Morehouse College, undergraduate like you, Martin Luther King Jr. wrote, "The complete education gives one not only power of concentration, but worthy objectives upon which to concentrate." The more you study ideas and cultures that seem so far away, the more you come back to questions about yourself. What is just? What's my responsibility to my community? What's my definition of the good life? Let me give you an example of this. Last year, I was talking to a student about an internship she had. Now, when she started here at UW, she just knew she wanted to go into a career in public relations. So she got an internship at a good company. She immersed herself in the work, learning the field. And after thinking deeply on that experience, she realized that PR wasn't the right career for her. Ugh, surprise, okay? Yikes, truth bomb, okay? Now, it wasn't that the internship was bad. She had learned a lot about PR, but she had also learned a lot about herself. And it just wasn't the right fit for her. So she changed directions to work in nonprofits, and she's happier now. Her discipline gave focus, her focus gave insight, and her insight changed her life. And that's what a massive life change takes courage. It takes courage to see if the person that you're becoming is the person you thought you'd become. And that actually brings me to my second point. I urge you to seize the opportunities here at UW to apply your learning, tempering that new knowledge with experience. So I teach a large public speaking class. I'll see a lot of you on Wednesday. The class is all about experience. And the final assignment in that class is to perform a speech out on Red Square in front of a public audience. All right? Okay, it's a big, big event. When you think about going out there, you can see it there, out on Red Square. You don't know who's in the audience. It's whoever happens to be on campus. Okay, and your reaction's like a lot of students' reaction on day one. They're like, that's bananas. I'm not doing that. Okay? UW is the only place I know of in the country and the world that does an assignment like that for speech. So why do we do it? We go out on Red Square, one, because we can, right? We're in Seattle, okay? Even in December or January, it's not too bad out there, okay? A little rain, right? University of Michigan tries this, somebody dies of exposure. That ain't good, okay? Can't do that, okay? But the main reason to go out on Red Square is because that experience demands adaptation. Speakers have to know their stuff so well that they can interact dynamically with the space and with the audience. They have to be bigger, louder, more engaging. And in 15 years of running that assignment, I've never had a single student who couldn't do it. Everyone rose to the challenge of that experience. And probably one of the best UW experiences to refine your learning is independent research. Every year, over 1,000 undergraduates partner with faculty mentors to design and execute major research projects. There's a big event over in Mary Gates Hall in the spring every year where they showcase this work, and I go. Here's some of the projects I saw most recently. I saw microbiology majors uncovering new relationships between air pollution and mental health in major cities. I saw speech and hearing science students working on measurements for detecting and treating early hearing loss. I saw projects in engineering, chemistry, English, psychology, astronomy, all of them juniors and seniors, all of them doing cutting-edge research, all of them separated by maybe 2 years from where you sit right now. That's the intellectual environment into which you step. And this environment is about so much more than job preparation. Now, don't get me wrong, right? Your time at UW should absolutely help your career. But I think you need to take the long view here. Estimates are that you, as a member of your generation, might have 10 to 15 different jobs in your lifetime, potentially changing entire careers. You can't spend 2 or 4 years at UW simply preparing for that first job out of college. No. Take advantage of what universities do best. They help students think more critically, more productively, more creatively. And of course, the good news is that such an education in thinking leads to good jobs. So recently, a group of Harvard and MIT economists and researchers looked at the changing nature of work since the 1960s. And they identified 2 key skills for the modern workforce: working with new information and solving unstructured problems. That's a college education right there. I see these skills daily. So as it was mentioned, I run a speaking center. So this is a place where anyone can come in and get help on a speech. All the consultants are UW students. Okay? They run hundreds of one-on-one coaching sessions. They do it for undergraduates, grad students, working professionals, anyone. They see a ton of speeches. And the thing is, coaching makes the consultants better speakers, even though they're not the ones doing the speeches. Why is this? Well, I think one of the reasons is because good speakers know what types of mistakes they normally make, and then they can figure out a few tricks to get themselves out of trouble. Now, a consultant sees all sorts of new mistakes, right? Ones they didn't make, sometimes ones they did not think could be made, right? That was amazing, okay? I've never seen that. That was incredible. Bravo for you, okay? But now those consultants need to solve problems they didn't create. They need to think of new strategies, and that stretches their abilities. Now, the goal of working in the Speaking Center isn't to become a speechwriter. It's to use the experience of coaching to understand speeches. But obviously, you can guess what's coming here, right? Lots of those former tutors now work as speechwriters, because by the time they leave here, they've already coached 200 speakers, solved 2,000 problems. They work in business and government and nonprofit. They write for Democrats and Republicans. And those good jobs, and they are good jobs, oh boy, but those good jobs are the byproduct, not the goal, of an excellent education. So that's a lot to think about as you start your time here at UW. And it's fine to be nervous now, it's expected, right? Pulitzer Prize winner David Horsey was nervous about his first day of class, just like you. Governor and Senator Dan Evans, Nobel Prize winner Linda Buck, they sat where you are, right? They weren't successes yet. They were thinking about what UW was going to be for them. They were trying to figure out how are they going to make it from a class in fisheries to one in Kane in 10 minutes. Those are like the farthest points on campus. How do you do that? How do you do that? You don't. You don't. I'm so sorry if that's your schedule. That sucks. Okay. Here's a fun fact. The fisheries building there is technically UW's Tacoma campus. Neat. Okay. Faculty like that one. They've done it. Okay. But all those thousands of UW alumni who have gone on to found companies, fly into space, help the needy, achieve fame. All of them were sitting where you are right now, nervous, anxious. And as insurmountable as the challenges feel, know this, you can do it. UW didn't make a mistake in admitting you. You worked hard to get here. You should be proud. But when you leave here, you will be stronger, smarter, more resilient, richer in mind and in spirit. It is simply magnificent. So I want to thank you for permitting me and my fellow faculty members the opportunity to witness your UW experience. Welcome to the University of Washington.
That was great. That was great. The University of Washington Glee Club, under the direction of Mark Petty, will now teach us the school song, Rise Up with Pride for Washington. They will sing the song a cappella first, and then we will all sing together with the wind ensemble. The lyrics to the song are printed on the last page of your program. Those who are able, please rise.
With pride for Washington, for purple and for gold, from far and wide we meet as one, as Huskies proud and bold. Oh, Washington, we hail to thee, honor, truth, integrity, forever shine from lake to shore. Your light upon us evermore. Rise up with pride for Washington, for purple and for gold, from far and wide we meet as one, as Huskies proud and bold. Oh, Washington, we hail to thee, honor, truth, integrity, forever shine from lake to shore, your light upon us evermore. Rise up with pride for Washington, together hand in hand, we will proclaim our loyalty in song throughout the land. Oh, Washington, we hail to thee, honor, truth, integrity, forever shine from lake to shore, your light upon us
Please be seated. You ready? I said, are you ready? Let's go. What a wonderful way to begin the academic year. On behalf of all of us, the entire university community, I want to thank our honored guests and all of you who have made this day so special. We request the audience to remain seated until the completion of the recession by the platform party. The 2019 New Student Convocation of the University of Washington is now closed.